The Dr. Taz Show, the podcast. Dr. Taz, Superwoman Wellness. Here's Dr. Taz.
Welcome back. Welcome back to Superwoman Wellness, where on every episode of the show, I am determined to bring you back to your superpowered self. On this episode, it's just me talking to you about COVID-19 or coronavirus. This is a global pandemic. It's affected so many of you in every corner of the world, and it's definitely disrupted our daily life and caused a global recession as well. Now, with all the chaos and the confusion in the news, and it's hard not to get anxious and depressed about everything that's happening in the world today, I wanted to take just a few minutes to remind you of some basics of what you can do to really help yourself during this global pandemic. I hope you're taking notes, and if you're not, grab a pen and paper or go to my website. We actually made a COVID-19 visual guide that contains a lot of the information that I'm talking about today. It's just to help remind you of some of the things that we should be doing day in and day out as we walk our way through this global pandemic. Let's start with the basics. COVID-19 is a respiratory virus. So as a respiratory virus, we know that respiratory droplets are going to spread the infection from person to person. That means things like washing your hands for at least 3 minutes with soap and water is important. It means self-quarantining if you don't feel good or if you feel sick is going to be paramount. And social distancing, where you're not putting yourself in crowded situations. Now, the latest recommendation from the Trump administration was to stay in groups of under 10. Those are some of the guidelines that you can take to protect your health and protect and prevent the spread of respiratory droplets. Now, when it comes to cleaning and disinfecting surfaces, remember you want to use a solution that's at least 60 to 70% alcohol. We know that's what actually kills the virus when it's sitting maybe on a computer keyboard, on a doorknob, or different places like that. But using that sort of cleaning solution will help to kill or remove the virus from sitting on surfaces. I know there are a lot of reports that get us all scared that it's sitting places for weeks on end. It's simply not true. 48 hours, maybe 72 hours at the most, but cleaning and disinfecting properly will absolutely help. You can actually make one of your own cleaners. We have that recipe on one of my Instagram posts as well, where you can take about 2/3 a cup of rubbing alcohol, mix it with 1/3 cup of aloe vera gel, and maybe add different antibacterial and antiviral ingredients to it, like lemongrass, thieves oil. You can also add colloidal silver to it and make your own at-home disinfectant. So hand washing, quarantining, cleaning, not traveling to high density areas. These are the things you probably already know. We're like, why did she do this episode? Just to talk to us about things you already know. Well, let's switch to 3 central tenets that you may not be hearing as much about. 1 is supporting your immune system. 2 is your digestive health. 3 is going to be your nutritional health, and maybe it's 4, not 3. And last but not least, it's managing anxiety and stress in this time frame. So let's start with immune support. There's some very basic things you can do to support your immune system. If you're going to be out and about, put a little bit of rosemary, eucalyptus, or even Vicks right on your nose. Sometimes that'll block respiratory particles from entering into the nasal cavities. When you're out and about, wear gloves. It's going to prevent you from touching your face quite as often as you may be now. And I do still think you should wear a mask especially if you're a healthcare worker, or if you're in an industry where you're still having to see people and interact with them day in and day out. Now, that's one rule of supporting the immune system. There are some different supplements you can take to support the immune system. I talk a lot about vitamin D. Vitamin D in studies has been shown to improve immunity and to decrease viral loads. So taking at least 2,000 units daily, maybe even going up to 5,000 over the next month, and maybe at least 1,000 for your children. I'm going on something called UMCA, which is derived from geranium oil and has been shown in studies to decrease viral loads, especially if taken in the first 48 hours. Astragalus root is from Chinese medicine, and it's one of my favorites. And so the dose of that is about 1 gram a day, and then increasing up to 3 times a day if you're not feeling well. Elderberry and oxalium may have a role as well. That one we're not as strong on as some of the others. And then reishi, from the mushroom family, also will help to improve your overall immunological response, which is really what we're after with COVID-19, is improving your response to the virus that as you're getting exposed to it. Now, other things that improve overall immunity is getting outside, getting some fresh air, exercising, and then making sure to stay really well hydrated. Now, last but not least, when we're talking about gut function, we also have to talk about, when we're talking about immune function, we also have to talk about gut health. Kind of gave it away there. But gut health is key to having a healthy immune system. Almost 70%, believe it or not, of your immune system lives in the gut. So eating the right foods for you, taking a probiotic, help balancing gut bacteria, doing things like bone broth or non-dairy kefir. These are all things that support gut health and indirectly support your immune system. I've seen a lot of diseases in immunology over my time in practice at Center Spring MD, and many of those are ultimately rooted right back in the gut, which is a very east-west thought on how the immune system works. So really understanding your digestive health and staying on top of that is key. Nutrition, we wanted to talk about as well. Now remember that high quality nutrients boost immune function. So this is going to be vitamin C, vitamin D, your B vitamins, zinc, all of these really critical for optimal immune function. In fact, just out of China a day or two ago was a study that talked about how IV vitamin C helps boost immune function and can decrease the viral load of COVID-19 or coronavirus. So again, getting these levels optimized in your system is key. Now, everyone may have an opportunity to have access to IV vitamin C, but at least making sure it's there in your food and in your supplements may be helpful as well. So nutrition is key. We know sugar depletes the immune system, so be careful with that. When we had the panic that we were all going to be quarantined for a period of time, my husband stocked up on a lot of high sugar foods, which is probably not what we should have done. But, trying to resist temptation and staying away from too many of those comfort foods is going to ultimately serve you well in terms of resisting this particular illness. We've talked about supporting your immune system. We've talked about gut health. We've talked about nutrition. Last but not least is a big one. I feel like this virus is playing a little bit of psychological warfare on all of us, right? I know many of you feel the same way and have expressed that to me. And unfortunately, it's hard to be calm in the midst of a storm. And it's definitely hard to not have anxiety when things are so out of our control. But when it comes to just chemistry, remember, the more stressed we are, the more anxious we are, the more indeed in turn it affects our immune system. So we do want to figure out how to lower stress and how to bring that vibration down, because when we're stressed, we probably stress out 5 or 6 other people around us. And then you stress the community, you stress the city, you stress the country. And quite honestly, it just continues to replicate. So what can you do? I think take the moment in time that we are right now and look for the gifts and the opportunities. What is it that you can do that you're not normally able to do in the rushing and the running around of day-to-day modern life? Maybe this is a chance to connect with your family or your spouse or your children. It's a chance to maybe enjoy your homes and, really live in the home and feel the home. It's a chance to be outdoors more, be out in nature. How many of you come home, and I know a lot of you do this because I talk to you all the time, but you come home exhausted at 7:00 at night, or you've got kids around for 4 hours in the afternoon, and it's all about the sort of robotic motion of just trying to get through your day. I know many of you are in that boat. Maybe this is a gift, a time to slow us all down, forcing us, quite honestly, to reevaluate what's really important to us, what really matters. And I bet some of you may make major life changes after this whole global pandemic because you'll be reoriented, realigned with what it is that you really want to do and who it is that you really are. So look for the gifts. Sometimes it's a gift of time. Sometimes it's a gift of connection. Sometimes there's a gift of just opportunity within your own home or right there around you. And then practice a mindfulness strategy to really help you calm your nervous system down. And that can look like so many different things to so many of you. And I think I want each of you to find really what's yours. For some people, they like to write it out, and writing is very actionable. It takes all this noise out of our head and puts it on paper. So maybe you journal for 10 minutes in the morning and then 10 minutes again in the evening. Or others of you like to truly meditate or do guided imagery where you're listening to somebody else walk you through relaxation. The power of breath, for all my fellow yogis, we know how amazing that is. So again, engaging in breath work whenever you can. And then also finding things you love to do. So filling up maybe your home and your environment with things you love. What is it? Is it yoga? Is it essential oils? Is it prayer? Is it books? Is it scents? Whatever it is, make your home and your environment a sensory experience so that you enjoy and fully live in the present moment while we have the opportunity. Other things, there's so many things you can take for anxiety. And of course, we want to add that into the equation if you're having trouble sleeping, your thoughts keep racing and you can't get those under control. Some of my favorites, in order, I usually like magnesium. Many of you have heard me talk about magnesium. You can take anywhere from 200 to 400 milligrams daily of magnesium to help calm the nervous system down. I also like something called GABA, which you can take throughout the day. The dose is around 250 milligrams to help calm the immune system. To help kind of calm your anxiety down. And then theanine, which is naturally derived from tea, is also very calming as well. So those are a few of my favorites. CBD oil often can go on that list as well. Many of you have been talking about CBD and the power of CBD. So that's something that helps both with inflammation and with relaxation as well. So that could be something used. And you don't want to use all of this stuff. I would pick one or two and then go for it. But here's what I'm challenging you guys with is essentially three things. Build your immune toolbox. How will you support your immune system for yourself and for your family? Build your nutritional warehouse. How can you continue to improve that individual conversation you have with yourself on nutrition? What are you not getting enough of? What could you lose? That's a conversation I continue to this day to have with myself all the time. And then build your anxiety toolbox. What is it that will help you calm yourself in this crisis? I hope this is all helpful information. Again, we have to stay super powered. I want you to walk in your power and in your light, but together is the way we'll get out of this global pandemic. Stay hopeful, stay positive, stay super powered, and I will see you guys next time. Thank you for watching this episode of Superwoman Wellness. Remember, we are on Spotify as well. If you enjoyed this episode, remember to rate and review it and share it with our friends. I'll see you guys soon.